In Tanzania, in the middle of the vast expanse of the Serengeti Game Reserve, there lived a woman named Aisha. She was more than just an employee. She became a symbol of nature itself. Aisha came to the reserve as a young girl and devoted more than 50 years to protecting wildlife. First as an assistant ranger, then as a zoologist and ranger, she went through all stages of service. Over the years, she saved dozens of animals from poachers, treated the injured, raised orphaned cubs, and trained young staff. The locals called her Mama Serengeti. She knew every tree, every path, every elephant, rhino, and zebra in the area. Even in retirement, she continued to travel to the reserve almost daily to visit old animals and share her experiences with new employees. But in recent months, Aisha's health has begun to deteriorate dramatically. The intense heat wave that gripped the region only worsened her condition. That morning, despite the scorching sun and doctors' warnings, she insisted on traveling to the eastern sector, where weakened animals were recovering in an isolated area. She was especially worried about an old elephant that had recently been rescued from poachers. In the sweltering heat, in her old Jeep, Aisha reached her destination. But when she got out of the car and approached the elephant, her heart gave out. A sharp pain pierced her chest, her breathing hitched, and she collapsed into the dry grass. The staff, Jamal and Nia, were nearby and heard her scream. They immediately ran over and saw that Aisha was conscious, but her pulse was very weak. They radioed for a medical car and searched her bag for medication, but there were no heart pills. The ambulance arrived quickly, but on the way to the hospital, Aisha lost consciousness. The doctors in the emergency room immediately began fighting for her life. Defibrillator, oxygen, reanimation. But despite all the efforts, 20 minutes later, one of the doctors bowed his head and quietly said her heart had stopped. The news of her death spread instantly. The reserve fell into a deep silence. Gone was the woman everyone here knew, animals and people alike. The next day, a farewell was held on the grounds. According to her wish, the ceremony took place among the savannah. Right in the courtyard of the reserve, the staff put up a wooden bed. Aisha was lying on it, calm, as if she had fallen asleep. Hundreds of people came to say goodbye. Rangers, locals, volunteers. Jamal stood beside her, never taking his eyes off her hands, as if he still hoped she would wake up. Nia smoked incense silently, whispering a prayer. Suddenly, the silence was broken by a muffled, slow stomping. Everyone turned around and saw a lone elephant coming from the southern hills toward the ceremony. It was huge, with ragged ears and long, blackened tusks. The people parted in fright, but the elephant walked calmly, unhurriedly. He approached Aisha's body, stopped, and stood still. Bowing his head, he raised his trunk and gently touched the blanket on her chest. Many could not hold back their tears. After the ceremony, the coffin was carried to the quiet zone. At that moment, Jamal recognized the elephant. It was the same one that Aisha had rescued 20 years ago. He was still young then. He had been found in a pit, wounded, emaciated. Poachers had hunted down the herd, and he was the only one to escape. Aisha spent weeks with him, feeding him, treating him, talking to him. When he recovered, she personally escorted him back into the wild. Since then, he had not been seen again, but apparently had been watching from afar. Now, after learning she was gone, he came to say goodbye. After the ceremony, the coffin was carried to the quiet zone, Aisha's favorite place, near a large tree where elephants often grazed. The elephant followed the procession. When she was buried, he stayed by the grave, standing silently until the sun went down. Then he made a deep, long trumpet sound, like a final call of gratitude. The next day, the reserve suspended all work as a sign of mourning. They brought fresh flowers to Aisha's grave and left food, which symbolizes life and continuation. The elephant reappeared in the evening. He approached slowly, stopped at the grave, and stood for a long time without moving. Nia noticed how he pressed his ear gently to the ground, as if he hoped to hear her voice. He had come almost every night since then. To him, she was more than just a person. She was a savior, a friend, a guide. The story of Aisha, a woman who dedicated her life to nature, has become a legend. And the proof is the lone elephant who, from across the vastness of the Serengeti, came to say, "Thank you. Thank you for life. Thank you for kindness. Thank you for love." If you like this story, please support our channel by liking and subscribing. See you in the next issues.